So I don't have a failure story that I overcame. And I thought, what can I say? And then it hit me, I coach. Once in a while, I have the privilege of coaching business or HR leaders.
Right.
And I discovered 4 questions.
Right.
What do you want? Who do you serve? How do you build? Where are you in your journey? And I love the Adam and Eve story because it says, I can fail. I made a mistake. I violated what I thought was right.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another series of Leaders Hum. I am Nayan Jadeja from the peopleHum team. Just a quick introduction of peopleHum. It is an end-to-end, one-view, integrated human capital management automation platform. The winner of the 2019 Global Cody Award for HCM that is specifically built and crafted for employee experiences and the future of work with AI and automation technologies. We run the peopleHum blog and a video channel specifically targeting leaders and young leaders through our Leaders Hum series. And today, extreme honor for me to welcome Dave Ulrich, our guest today. He is the co-founder and principal of the RBL Group. Dave has written over 30 books and over 200 articles. He has shaped the HR profession and been called the father of modern HR and HR thought leader of the decade by focusing on HR outcomes, governance, competencies, and practices. He is ranked as the #1 management guru by Business Week, profiled often by Fast Company as one of the world's top 10 creative people in business, a top 5 coach in Forbes, and recognized on Thinkers 50 as one of the world's leading business thinkers. We are extremely happy to have Dave on our series here today, and I'm extremely privileged to be talking to Dave. So Dave, welcome.
Nian, thank you. I am so delighted to have a conversation with you.
So Dave, since you kind of talked about it, you know, the 20-20-20 across all 5 functions, do you think that it needs to be the same while we are going through the pandemic, or do you think organizations need to?
Great question. You know, the answer is yes and no. The real answer is I don't know for sure. I get really worried when I get on LinkedIn and somebody says, here's the new normal. This is going to be our future. I don't think I know the new normal. In fact, I've posted, I think new normal is going to be a process where we have some principles, but we don't have dedicated actions. I think there's 3 things HR will continue to deliver in any crisis that hits. 1, we will deliver great talent. We will deliver people, they're the raw ingredients, who have competence, commitment, contribution. They're doing their best. 2, we will deliver a great organization. I think we find people are so critical, but organization even more critical. Can we take our people and form an organization? And 3rd, we deliver leadership that connects the 2. So in my simple world, those 3 continue in any crisis. In a pandemic, are our people motivated, working from home, working wherever they work? Are they competent? Are they committed? Do we have the right organizational culture? And do we have leaders who can navigate both of those? So I think those 3, talent, organization, and leadership, are consistent and stay together.
Right, got you. Just shifting gears a bit, you know, I mean, obviously, since I come from the tech world, there's always been talk of, you know, artificial intelligence and machine learning, and, you know, is that going to take away jobs? And then you have the pandemic that's hit us, right? Obviously resulting in a lot of, you know, layoffs across the globe. What would your advice be to the individuals in terms of trying to figure out, you know, how do I tackle this, like reskilling, and to HR in terms of trying to move the organization to help, you know, the employees get reskilled for, you know, other opportunities for the future?
What do you see in technology? I mean, obviously machine learning, AI, robotics, chatbots, they're replacing the administrative jobs. Any job that is standard routine transaction that a robot can do, they'll do it. What do you see in that space?
Yeah.
You're the technology expert.
Well, obviously, I do feel that there's obviously a lot of hype, right? In terms of, AI and machine learning almost replacing everything. Based on personal experience, I would say, AI and machine learning can definitely make software intelligent. It can help automate certain redundant, continuous same jobs. But I don't feel it is still so advanced that, it's going to take away the whole, everything that's out over there, right? So in my opinion, I think the first wave of technology was more around, kind of digitizing, bringing the data, collecting the data, making it, available. And now it's more about making the software a little bit more smarter. However, I do think, we are far away from where, technology is just going to replace everything that we do. So to me, technology and AI is going to be an enabler, helping us, do certain things and giving us the data so that we can use that to kind of move forward.
I am exactly where you are. Yes, technology will replace jobs, but it will also create opportunities. One of the things I love to see is evolution of ideas. We did a piece in the HR space about what does technology look like in the HR space. And I said there's 4 waves. I like waves. One is it drives efficiency. So you go to the large technology firms, Oracle, SAP, or Workday, and soon to be peopleHum, but you get incredible efficiency through technology. It replaces administrative stuff. The second is you get incredible innovation with new apps. Josh Burson, who's the expert in this space, said we've had in the last couple of years 2,700 new apps. We've just had so many applications that are flowing. I love to look at those and say, are they really the right apps? For example, I got one about a year ago. It said, would you endorse our app? And I said, what is it? And it said, it takes a picture of your face and it describes you as a leader.
Oh.
And I said, do you want me to be the before? I mean, look at my face. That's kind of a silly app. But then the third stage that you alluded to is it provides us information to guide decision-making. Right. I think technology has done a lot with efficiency, phase 1, innovation, phase 2. I think we're moving to information to guide decision-making. And an example of that is, for example, if a firm gets 1,000 resumes for a job, the smart technology can winnow that down to 10. Absolutely. Then we got to go to the 4th stage, which is connection or experience. I don't think technology replaces the relationship. I will now have, it can enable it. I will now have a better, I've had in the last 3 weeks a chance to do emails with a wonderful colleague. So, but by the way, that's connecting, but that's not yet a relationship. The technology enables me to have a bit of a relationship with you, but the next time you come visit, you will be sitting right here in my office. And then we have the experience together that builds a relationship. Technology goes through those 4 stages: efficiency, innovation, information, and experience. It doesn't replace experience. It helps it, but it doesn't replace it.
Right. Got you. I have another, in terms of, all the research that you do and the data analysis and kind of painting a picture or a vision in terms of where HR needs to go. Do you think there is a difference between, larger organizations kind of adopting and accepting those versus, does it apply evenly across the organizational size or?
Great question. Great question. Yeah, here's kind of what we find when we collect data, and I'll use leadership as an example. We've done work on what makes an effective leader. what we find is that 60 to 70% is a book we wrote called The Code. There are some basic things leaders have to do. You got to set a strategy. You got to execute a strategy. You got to take care of your people. You got to build a future people, and you got to be personally proficient. It's basic. That applies anywhere, big company, small company, public sector, private sector, geographically, India, Singapore, Brazil, United States. 30 to 40% are the differentiators. If you don't do the basics well, you don't get to play. I think the same is true in HR. There are, and our research just showed that, by the way. It's really interesting. Again, this is research we saw with a small data set. We're going to try to get a big data set literally last night. But we found that 60 to 70% of HR success is the basics. You got to do the basics, but you've also got to do the differentiators, the outside in stuff. Now, the second thing we found, again, small sample, so I'm really hesitant to go beyond this, and I won't share the data because it's so small. HR people rated that differently than non-HR people. HR people saw their primary role as the administrative work. Non-HR people wanted HR people to do outside in work. Right. As I thought about that last night and this morning, what it hits me is I think non-HR people are business leaders. You talked about this a minute ago. And again, it's fun to tell the story to you for the first time. I think they assume that you can do the basics. Yeah. I'm a business leader struggling to do business in China, in India, to get net promoter score up. I look at my HR people and I say, I'm going to assume you can do that basic stuff well through technology, not technology. What I really need help with is the differentiators. So that's kind of what we're finding. So, final comment. In our research, we found that small, medium enterprises, once you get maybe from 200 to 1,000, when you start to hire an HR person, they have more impact on the business than often larger firms. Because a smaller firm, if you've got 500 people and you're hiring 50 people this year, that's 10% of the ingredients of your organization. You've got to get it right. And so in small, medium enterprises, HR folks are actually more strategic than in large enterprises where there's a lot of HR specialists.
Yeah, that's very, very interesting. Yeah, absolutely. I can see that actually personally as well, where I do feel, since we are smaller, the impact that an HR can have is much more than, like some of the larger organizations.
Yeah, I'd assume in your organization, you don't just want a talent specialist. You want a talent person who can make sure that as I work with you, the founder of the firm and the president and the CEO, let me get people who will take us to the next step in our evolution. Right. And that person really needs to help you go forward. And if you hire a bad person, remember the other company sent their bad people to you. That's going to get you in trouble. And so the small companies, if anything, the HR issues are even more demanding. And our research showed some of that.
Yeah. Fascinating. Okay. So I think I'm going to move towards kind of my last question and away from the corporate world and away from HR, so to say, and go back to where we started, which is everything that's top of mind, and, assume that you are addressing a convocation address for the 2020 graduates. What would you tell them? What would you say to them?
Boy, thank you for that opportunity. A few years ago, I was invited at the University of Michigan, the business school where I'm a professor, to give the graduation address. And it's unusual. You don't usually have a professor do the graduation address. I was scared because most great graduation addresses are Stephen Jobs. I created this, or Oprah Winfrey, from rags to riches. I don't have a great story. I had a wonderful father and mother. Oh, just to show, that's my wonderful mother, and my sister and my younger brother. No, that's me when I was younger. And I have to show also my father. That's a book my children made that I could read to my grandchildren. This is Great Grandpa. And that's my family at a reunion for my parents on their 50th wedding anniversary. That's my father. So I don't have a failure story that I overcame. And I thought, what can I say? And then it hit me, I coach. Once in a while, I have the privilege of coaching business or HR leaders.
Right.
And I discovered 4 questions. And this is what I gave the graduates. And it's the same questions I would give those almost at any career stage, senior executive, middle, or entering. Question 1, what do you want? Simple question. What do you want? What are your strengths? What are your passions? What are your skills? And the argument is, and I don't want to give the whole graduation address, if you don't know what you want, somebody will define it for you.
Right.
And it probably won't be in your interest. Know what you want. Build on that. Number 2, who do you serve? What I want is about my interest. But who do I serve? Because if I'm not giving back to someone else, my personal wants become silly. Leadership is not about authenticity. Because being authentic alone is not a good leader. There's a hypothetical leader who's a billionaire. I'm a great leader because I'm worth $1 billion. And my comment to that leader is, how many millionaires did you create?
True.
What do you want? Who do you serve? Number 3, how do you build? Are you creating the culture and the institution that will outlive you? Right. And number 4, where are you in your journey? I love the 4th question. I didn't actually use it in my address to the graduates, and I've done 2 or 3 commencement talks. But that 4th one, quick story, and it's based in religion, but it's a story that we all appreciate, I hope, regardless. There's a story in the Quran or in the Bible about Adam and Eve. They're in the Garden of Eden. They make a mistake, and God comes to visit them. And when God comes, he says, Adam, Eve, where are you? Where art thou? Now, for decades, I happened to be pretty active in my faith. I thought, oh, they were hiding behind a bush. Where are you? You're behind a bush. And then it hit me. God knows where they are. I think God can see them behind a bush or behind a rock. Where are you is a more metaphysical question. Where are you relative to your journey? You made a mistake. It was a big mistake. Where are you? Are you going to recover and move forward? Or are you going to let the mistake define you negatively? I find that last question so powerful. And that Adam and Eve story has been a foundational story for so many religions.
Right.
What do you want? Who do you serve? How do you build? Where are you in your journey? And I love the Adam and Eve story because it says, I can fail. I made a mistake. I violated what I thought was right. But look at the beauty of that story. You can recover. We call it resilience. So that's what I would tell graduates. Do you know what you want? Who are you going to serve? How are you going to build something? And by the way, it's so fun. And I've not worked with you. Look at your life story. What do you want? You start in technology. You moved to Dallas, to Philadelphia. You're serving a larger society, not just yourself and your family. You're building an enterprise with a set of softwares and disciplines that goes beyond you, that hopefully someday you'll be on it. This is one of my goals. Someday I'm on an airplane and somebody's reading one of my books and they don't know who I am because I try not to put my face on the book. That wouldn't help. And I go, how's the book? I hope that book is helping them, or this discussion. And then where am I on my journey? Am I facing up to my strengths, my weaknesses, my mistakes, and my opportunities, and being able to go forward? I think those 4 questions are helpful.
Yeah, fascinating. Wow. Well, thank you. I am sure all the graduates and everybody, as you said, I think it's very, very relevant to anybody in any kind of a situation, be it the CEO or a fresh graduate. I'm sure is going to learn a lot. So thank you.
So I'm going to ask, no, I'm not going to let this go. I've got to learn from you. What is your aspiration? Yeah, you are now at a life stage. You're not as old as I am, but someday you may be. But I'm assuming you're at a life stage that work is not just about the economics. It's not just about status. You've got that. What is your aspiration? And I think, you've let me share some of mine. What is yours that you hope people get from the things you do?
So I think I would say 2 mainly from a professional side. Obviously, there's the personal side as well. But from a professional side, I would say 2 things. One is what we are trying to do is develop global SaaS software products from India, right? So India is kind of known as for its software, but it's more of the back end, where all the back end work gets done. However, there hasn't been a global, SaaS products that are used across the globe. So one of them is that we create something which anybody anywhere in the world would use because they find value from that software, right? And number two is, as a journey towards that, hopefully it will bring success to the team and some of the leaders who are working on these products so that they go ahead and achieve huge success in their career. Right, so.
I love what you just did. Let me pull out two words that I hope those listening get. So that. Because look at what you just described. I want to create a global product that focuses on the future, not the past. That's great. Out of India, that's great. So that those users achieve their results. That's so that gives me a sense that you're not just about, my personal wealth, my personal well-being, that my two children will have opportunity. That's all true. But so that those who use my service will succeed. That's what leadership is.
Right.
We've used that "so that" word that you use so brilliantly to say, what do you want to do as a leader? I want to set a vision. I want to get results. So that what? And the "so that" leads me to an outcome that I hope is consistent with my personal values. I want to create learning. I want to create new ideas. I want to create ideas so that people can achieve their potential, so that organizations succeed in the marketplace, so that leaders, people, organizations, so that leaders inspire others to become their better selves. And I think you just described your agenda so beautifully. Thank you.
Thank you. No, absolutely. It's indeed an honor and a privilege to talk to you, Dave. I think this was absolutely fascinating. I learned a lot, and I'm sure our listeners and the audience is also going to learn a lot from this session. So thank you immensely for spending so much time with us and for all your learnings and teachings really for us.
Thank you. My final comment when I meet with HR business leaders, 5 words: the best is yet ahead. I hope we have that. The best is always yet ahead, even in this pandemic. May we not look backward with distress. May we look forward. The best is yet ahead. Thank you. What a privilege. Thank you.
Dave. Thank you.